Hi everyone and welcome. If you're new, welcome to my channel, and if you've been before, welcome back. So today I've just come back from walking Kai and Postman's Bee, and we have the latest Total Tarot magazine package. So I thought I'd open it with you because I'm really excited for this one. This is a tarot deck that I've really been looking forward to getting. So I'm just going to open it. Kai's not here, he's in the living room, I think. So we've got two magazines. There we go. Two magazines. Right, the two magazines, and we've got the next two cards for the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. The sixes, we've got here the Six of Cups and Six of Wands. I just love this gold detail here. It's showing up on the camera. It's just so pretty. And then we have the Visconti Sforza. So we get the box, which is a tuck box, and it's got the Total Tarot on the sides. And the deck comes in two halves, because if you buy this in the shops as opposed to a subscription, then you buy them one at a time. So in the first one you'll get the first half of the deck, and then in the second issue you get the second half of the deck. But the advantage of having it as a subscription means you always get a full tarot deck. So I will turn the camera around and I will go through the cards for us and have a little look at the books, at the magazines. So the two cards we got this time, as I said, were the Six of Wands and the Six of Cups. And I thought I'd just show you side by side with a normal size Rider-Waite Smith. Just compare the two together. So they're quite similar, aren't they? You can see the similarities there. The victor with the wreath on horseback being celebrated. There's quite a big difference between the size of the cards, as you can see. And then the Six of Cups with the Rider-Waite Smith. So again, we've got the building in the background with the tower. Two figures, the youngsters, and the cups with the flowers in. It's a more ornate version. Very nice. So to the magazines. So magazine number 22. I might have to zoom out a bit. There we go. Oh, can we get a shadow? So I've got quite a large version on the front of the Pope. There's that radiant sun motif of the Visconti family emblem. And what do we start with? Let's have a look. Reading the tarot, negative cards. So this is from the Thelema Tarot. So it's a large depiction there. And it's talking about the death card, the tower card. You know those problematic cards people struggle over? Death, the tower, the devil, the Nine of Swords, and the Five of Pentacles can be quite problematic. And it's talking about how we can view those cards. I don't know why she's called them spooky cards, or he's called them spooky cards. I really don't understand that. Then the card in detail is the World card. So we've got some little bits about some of the motifs there. So for instance, the wands that the World card is holding, what that means. Completeness and balance are the keywords. Then of course we've got the themes, so personal, divination and psyche. And then, as usual, we've got different tarot decks depictions of the same card. That's cool. Reversals, some more depictions up there. And then we've got a spread. So in issue 22, they talk about the spread, and in issue 23, they actually do a spread in action. You know, they show you one in action. And here, they've used the Klimt tarot. You know, there's an artist called Gustav Klimt, and we haven't had that deck yet, and I really do hope we do get that deck, because that's another gorgeous one. What we've got here, I'm here to read the cards to offer insights, illuminate options and provide information. Okay, so that looks like boundaries. Yeah, it's about responsibility. So your responsibility as a reader. Reading and interpretation, talks about the signifier and the goal. The library, the Visconti tarot, this is what we get. We get 2 pages of information about Visconti, just a little bit, and we get some keys for what those cards mean. So here the Fool is odd behaviour, prank, strangeness and madness. You don't get very much meanings. Here it talks about the missing cards. And then the minors. We have some meanings here for the minor cards. The 8 of Cups. Ace is abundance, emotional fulfillment and sincerity. So they are pick decks. And then we've got a visual reference to those cards. Here we've got the majors. And how to practice using this magazine. And then in 23, we carry on with the Visconti minor arcana. And in this one, we've got a little note telling us that the issues are going up in price. Increased production costs. So that's not going to go down very well, is it? In these times of counting the pennies, watching the pennies. So now we've done all the major arcana in the past issues, because obviously we're on issue 23 and there's 22 major arcana cards. Sorry about the shadows, not much I can do about it. I hope it's not too distracting. So we're starting off, it looks like, with the cups. Just, yeah, starting with the suit of cups. And we'll start with the ace. Told you the elements, keywords. So what's this? Tarot Illuminati, the Pentacles. Yeah, okay, so it's going through each suit by the looks of that. Oh no, just the 2. Okay, so it's going. So it's the element of the cups and the pentacles in this one. So presumably it'll be the swords and the wands in the next one. Comparing the cards. Key to numbers. So, number symbolism. Okay, so this is telling, it is going back over actually, what we already know, how to look at these pages. So it's telling you what is going to be. Wow, we already know this. Okay. It's actually saying what, well, that's, yeah. Those 2 pages are explaining that one, that one, that one, and that one. And as we always get those pages in every magazine, that's a little bit annoying. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, so as usual, we've got symbology, a little bit about the ace in the Radiant Wise. a comparison with other decks. I really hope we get that Gustav Klimt tarot. But then, I mean, the one that you can get, that you can buy, it's very like a gold foil version, which I doubt we'd get in this collection. But never mind. We're going to get Tarot of the White Cats with 30 and 31. That'd be nice. So this is that spread, that staircase spread that they were talking about in the first one, in the issue 22, part 22. So this is an actual reading example using that spread. And again, using the Klimt tarot, which is a bit of a shame really that they didn't use one of the tarots that we've already got in the collection. That is a shame. Because obviously not having these cards to connect and look at, we can't do this with this deck, can we? So, tarot techniques this time is gender and tarot. Oh, and this is the Starman tarot that's going to come with a premium subscription, which is David Bowie influenced iconography. Young and masculine, yin and feminine. So yeah, the young cards are the swords and the wands, and the receptive cards are cups and the pentacles. We've got a visual reference here to the minor arcana and the Visconti, how to practice using this book, and then the back page is a teaser as usual for the next deck, which is going to be the Fairy Tarot, which is quite whimsical. So that's the latest mailing of Total Tarot magazine. So apologies in advance if you can hear the wind. It is gale force out there. But I thought I'd just go a little bit into what I've learnt about the Visconti Tarot. This hasn't come from the magazine, this has come from my own little bit of research. Because this is an historical deck, you can't really look at it the same way as you would Rider-Waite-Smith clones. So it's its own thing really. And it was commissioned privately by Visconti Sforza family, and it tells a little bit about their history. So the Visconti and the Sforzas were political rivals in the medieval times, and as with politics back in the day, kings and queens, you know, they married for political alliance, for power, and that was the case with Visconti and Sforza. So we're talking about Bianca Maria Visconti, and she was promised in marriage when she was 5 years old to a 24-year-old Francesca Sforza. But she didn't actually marry him until she was 16, fortunately. And also, very interestingly, it is thought that her son murdered her. So yeah, pretty violent times back then. So there's four cards are actually missing from the original deck. Have never been found. There's like, I think 3 different owners of parts of the original deck, and when you put them all together, there's actually 4 cards missing, which is the Devil, the Tower, the 3 of Swords, and the Knight of Coins. So that's a little bit about the history. As we go through the deck, it shows a little bit more about the history. So anyway, the Fool, here we have a Fool, and the thing I learnt about the Fool was that he was holding a stone in his hand, which you can't actually see in this version, but apparently he's holding a stone in his hand here, and that's because it was thought in those times that fools or madmen were mad because they had a stone in their brain, in their head, and that's what made them mad. And you'll see in a few of the decks this here, like they're an edge, an abyss almost, you know, a sheer drop from the side of a cliff, and that's in quite a few of the cards. I will show when you come to them. I'm just really going to go through the majors because it's a pip deck. Okay, so that's the Fool. He's apparently got ostrich feathers in his hair because ostriches were thought to be quite foolish because they buried their heads in the sand. I suppose it's a foolish thing to do, but we all do it from time to time. So the Magician, well, this is, you know, normally on a magician we have the magician's tools, don't we? But here in this case, apparently this is a type of cheese, which is quite interesting. Someone said it's a wedding cake, but researchers say it's actually cheese. So he's got a knife there to cut the cheese, maybe cheese and wine party. Sorry, being silly. This one's quite interesting. The Papess, or the female pope. Here we have got the High Priestess, and this is supposed to be, or thought to be, a Bible in her hand there. And it's referencing Pope Joan. Pope Joan, I don't know if you're aware of the story, but she was, perhaps she lived, perhaps she didn't. She might have been a mythical figure just to warn people. But the story goes she disguised herself as a man in order to get into the church, because the church is where the money was, you know. You could be quite rich if you were part of the church, and it was a way for her to actually access that and to access power. Here you can see she's got the triple crown, sign of power. Unfortunately though, she did have a lover and got pregnant, so she was discovered when she went into labour, and the church killed her for it. So it might have been a myth for just a warning to the ladies of the land not to have ideas above their station. So yeah, poor St. Joan. The Empress, we have here a shield with an eagle showing her power. Lots of powerful symbols here on her dress. There's lots of different symbols. Interesting why she's got green hands. No idea, I couldn't find out why there was green hands. But anyway, this is the Imperial Eagle, and it's the same on the Emperor as well. He's got the Imperial Eagle on his hat there. So it's sort of referencing Rome, isn't it? And the Holy Roman Empire. Again, he's got similar motifs on his robe, on his garment. What's this? The Hierophant. The typical Hierophant image there, Pope. Apparently this motif here, we'll see it on quite a few cards, is the motif used as an emblem for the Visconti family, and it's called the Radiant Sun. And you see it on quite a few of the cards. In the robes is the Radiant Sun. So the lovers here, we've got Cupid is blindfolded. Maybe love is blind. Maybe that's what that's saying. And we've got a green hand again here. Instead of flying in the air, Cupid is actually on a pedestal. So maybe we put love on a pedestal. The reality is something quite different. So, you know, like the political alliance, there's not love involved there, is there? It's a power game. So the hands clasping means that it's unbreakable bond that they're agreeing to. The motif here on this garment is 8 points, and 8 is the sign of infinity. You see it on we see it on the Magician card, not in this deck, but we see it on the Magician card, we see it on the Strength card. It's, you know, the Lemniscate, 8 for infinity. So again, that's saying that this marriage is forever, till death do they part. Huh? This column might also represent stability. So these winged horses pulling the chariot, this is actually said to be Maria herself. It's supposed to represent her. She doesn't look very stable, does she? She's just on a plinth there. And if those horses were to like take off, I think she might just topple. So she's got the emblem of the Radiant Sun on her garment, which also causes historians to believe that this is actually Maria herself, and the fact that She saved her husband in battle. She heard he was in trouble, and you can see here she's also represented as a knight in armour running to her husband's aid. So instead of having a knight in shining armour as the one that's going to save us, the man that's going to save us, here we've got the wife saving the husband and celebrating her for that fact. Celebrated as a warrior. It truly is a very historical deck, isn't it? I mean, this hermit card, he instead of holding a lantern, he's holding an hourglass, and he's got his staff. But in this instance, I mean, we think of the staff that's helping him, climb to the top of the mountain. He's not on an actual mountain in this card, he's on grass. And so it's sort of a reference to Father Time, maybe, because an hourglass represents time and a way of measuring time of an evening, because obviously they didn't have electric lights like we did, was to use an hourglass of an evening. And in the daytime they'd use a sundial. So the staff, if you hold the staff up, would cast a shadow and tell you what time it was in the day. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune. The interesting thing about this card is the king on the top has got ass's ears. So an ass is a fool, isn't it? It's seen as a fool. So the foolish man, the foolish king, thinks he's on top, thinks he's staying on top, but the wheel turns. Fortuna is blind, she just turns the wheel and he's going to topple, and somebody else is coming along to take the place. It's very political, isn't it? This one I don't like, but it's apparently representing Hercules slaying the lion. So the lion is our inner animalistic nature, our base nature, and it's overcoming that base nature, isn't it? This is interesting, the Hangman, the version here. So as you probably know, the hangman is a traitor's death. That's the way that they used to kill them. And this depiction here, according to the historians, is like a poster. You put the poster up of a wanted man. Well, this was a poster put up to shame him and his family before he was actually put to death in this manner. So it was, this is what's going to happen to this man because he's done wrong, and we're going to put it up and show everybody what happens to you when you do wrong, and then we're going to go and kill him this way. Lovely times. Death has got a bow and an arrow. So yeah, hope he doesn't aim for you. Normal sort of temperance image. Apparently this style of dress, I can't remember if it's Greek or Roman, but it's a style of dress where it's tied just above the bosom. Again, we've got, this edge of a cliff scenario, which sort of reminds me of Rider-Waite-Smith's, when Pamela Colman-Smith put her figures onto stages. I just thought that was a bit similar. This is one of the cards that doesn't exist. So it's a reworking, or a reimagined working of the Devil card, what they think it might have looked like. And there's a few different versions in a few different Visconti decks. Again, the Tower, that's a reworking, a reimagining. It's not in the original. Here we've got the Star. Now this is apparently Venus, and an 8-pointed star. The 8 points representing the fact that Venus takes 8 years to transit the Earth. The Moon, this is apparently Hecate, and reference to the underworld, the subconscious. She was a Greek goddess of the new moon. And then the Sun is Apollo, sun god. direct reference to the Bible, the final judgment, and we will all be called to account, and the world. So they're holding up an idealised vision of a powerful world to live in, which one presumes it was. So yeah, that's what I found out about the major arcana. As I said, the minors are pips, so that's right. I think it's the right to rule, maybe. So the pips are pip cards. They're very decorative. You have the wands. I'm not going to spend any time on these. The wands are all wands. If you're expecting a pip deck. The cups, apparently there was an incident where one of the Viscontis nearly drowned in a fountain, and he was saved, and this is to commemorate that. You might have to look that up because I can't remember who saved who, and it was I'd be guessing, so you know, that's something maybe you'd like to look up. So that's why it's seen as a fountain and not a chalice like the rest of the suit. So we could have a little look at the court cards. They all look like the same person here. I don't know what you think, but that looks like the same person to me. Put it down into frame, you might be able to see it. But yeah, so all very blonde. Again, the green hands. Interesting. The cups. And then we've got here pentacles. I don't know what that shield represents, if it's anything to do with the emblems of the families, possibly. And maybe these coins here were currency, quite possibly. Maybe they were actually minted as currency. So we've got a redhead there. As you can see, that's the radiant sun motif on those garments. But mainly blondes. Wands. Again, very blonde. And they're all very young. Even the kings are really quite young. Maybe they just didn't live very long back in those days, didn't reach old age. Possibly, hey? This time the king has got green gloves on. But so is the knight. Notice these little things. The other thing I noticed was the swords. You know, we quite often get them like scimitars, you know, like a curved blade, whereas these are straight. I would presume this is Latin. I don't speak Latin, or know Latin, or learnt Latin. So this page of swords has actually got armour on. The others haven't. As has the knight, the queen and the king have all got armour. Interesting, isn't it? They're the only ones with armour. Just checking. Yep, the only ones that got armour. So yeah, that's the Visconti tarot. A little bit of the background to the deck, which isn't in, I mean, there's a little bit in the magazine, but not an awful lot. So I just thought I'd enhance that a little bit from the research that I done. Okay. I was looking through the Visconti tarot. It occurred to me I've actually got a couple of Visconti fountain pens in my collection. I've got quite a large collection of fountain pens. When I was at school, we weren't actually allowed to use biros. We were made to use fountain pens. That was non-negotiable. Biros were actually frowned upon. Yeah, so I'm quite used to using fountain pens, and I've got two Viscontis in my collections. This one, which is dark forest green with a medium nib. It's actually engraved with my moniker on it. We've got Visconti on the arch. It's called the arch there. And it's a magnetic closure. It just goes dunk. Beautifully made. I think this was when Don Vecchio was still part of the company. It's a medium steel nib. Let's see if we can focus in on the nib. There we go. So that's the nib. Beautiful. And the underside. And then my baby, the one that I use pretty much all the time, was very, very, very expensive. But I use it so much it was well worth getting. If you've got those sort of funds, and I did save up for those, and that's this baby here. This is the Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens. This is the box it came in. There we go. Visconti box. And it's got a pull-out tray on the side with the information about the pen in there. So it's the box. Beautiful box. And look at that. Presentation. Gorgeous. Here I've got a portable, refillable inkwell. So yeah, if you're travelling, you can use this as an inkwell without spilling ink everywhere, which is great. The pen itself, okay, there's a story behind this pen, or the story behind the reason I got this pen. Just let's have a look at it while I'm talking. So this, you push it in to open it and then twist it, and it's got a plunger type mechanism to fill it. See if I can show you the nib. This is inked with Visconti ink. There we go. Like I say, I use this all the time. You see, it's a purple ink. Visconti purple. So the story behind this pen and the reason I spent so much money on a fountain pen. So a few years ago, I was fortunate enough to go on a Mediterranean cruise, and as part of that cruise, we went to Sicily and had a trip up to Mount Etna, which was such an experience. I can't tell you what an experience, but I can. It's cold up there, and it was very, very windy. Now, when I say windy, it's like I had trouble standing up. I really thought I was just going to fall over all the time. I've never been so scared in my life, to be totally honest. So scared. Anyway, when I saw this come up as part of Visconti's collection, I had to have it. The reason being, it's actually made from the lava of Mount Etna. How cool is that? So yeah, I saved up and I bought it. I think I bought it from the writing desk here in England, in the UK, and I think they go for a lot more money now. I think should I tell you how much I paid for it? I shall let you research it yourself, because it's a lot of money, and it's not something I could do now, but at the time I was able to. So yes, I'm really glad I did get it. It's so smooth, it writes like butter. I've got something I can write on just to demonstrate that. Let's have a look. Okay, just to show you a little bit about how that writes. I've got a stamp there, sorry. But anyway, let's just show you the writing. Sorry about the shadow. Yeah, look at that. It's just like butter. Beautiful. Gorgeous. So yeah, that's my story about Visconti and Visconti pens. It would have been really cool if they were part of that Italian pedigree of the Visconti family, but they're not, I don't think so. Unless you can, if you know any difference, then let me know. But yeah, that's my beautiful Visconti Homo sapiens. Okay, thank you for joining me, and hopefully see you in the next video. Okay.